Welcome to DynaVap Live. It's been a long time coming, at least for me. I know Pranav was on a while back, but it's good to be back.
Likewise, good to be back. Thanks for joining.
Good to be back. Thank you for joining. I think do a couple of shout outs. Say hi to Patrick from Oregon.
Esselop from California.
Tyler from Pennsylvania.
Kelly from Philly.
Looks like Marcin from Poland.
Kyle from Hong Kong.
And Felicity from Byron Bay, Australia.
Alex from Jersey.
Christopher from Germany.
Matthew from Derbyshire, England.
And Pluto from Austria. How cool is that?
That's just funny. That's awesome.
Yeah. Austria. Okay. So hopefully things are progressing along for everyone in an okay fashion. I know that like just about everyone, we're running into some challenges of our own, but we're really happy to be here today. And we wanted to take a few minutes to, thank the Dynaverse, everyone that helps us out and follows us on social media. Thank you to the FC Forum and Vapor Asylum.
And all our subreddits, DynaVap and Vaporance, everyone, just thank you. Thank you for, taking the time for joining for this live stream, and just thank you for being there. Thank you for being awesome.
Yeah, and definitely thank you for helping to add to the positivity, because if there's one thing that I think we're very sure that everyone can use a little bit more of today and tomorrow and however long that our current situation is going to last is a little bit more positivity. So we're going to do our best to keep everything going and flowing and be happy and share a little joy with you. So we ask that you try and return the favor and help out someone that would appreciate a little bit of assistance. And so maybe it might be a good time for us to get into how did we get to here? And talking a little bit more specifically personally, how did Pranav and I get to here? Because today's actually a really exciting day for us. It's
Yes.
We actually get to break our own self-imposed quarantine.
Yes, 2 weeks.
Right, and come into a world that's rather locked down. So I can't say that it's bad, but it isn't quite what we were expecting. We're thinking, okay, after our exciting trip to rapid turnaround to Europe, which maybe we should talk about that.
It does make for a cool story.
It does make for an interesting story. So it was over 2 weeks ago. It was last Tuesday, 2 weeks ago, on March 10th, that I got on a plane first, and Pranav followed a few hours later, and we flew to Spain. So got there Wednesday morning for me, and he arrived Wednesday evening. And we met up shortly after he arrived. Went to this super cool Airbnb, probably the coolest place I think either of us have ever stayed at. What was it, like 4 stories or something ridiculous like that?
It was amazing. I was just looking forward to staying there, if anything.
Yeah, it was just a cool place to stay. Big high ceilings, lots of stairs, balconies, cool backyard. Something we're really looking forward to doing. Of course, Spanibus was supposed to be going on because they didn't cancel that until, of course, after I arrived. But then again, they canceled it while Pranav was enjoying a nice long layover in Munich, right?
7-hour layover in Munich.
7-hour layover. So that took you almost as long in the airport as it took to get there.
Yes. And I landed in Munich, and 10 minutes after I landed, I got the text, Spanibus has been canceled. I'm like, oh, awesome.
Yeah, not awesome. So then things went from fun and awesome to even more than fun and awesome as we kind of wrapped up our day and we're finally kind of calling it, time to get some sleep. And then we were informed by some awesome people out there in the Dynaverse that we might want to look into coming home a little bit ahead of schedule because the U.S. is about to ban all travel from Europe. So this was what, about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning our time, our local time? It's like, all right. Then we had to get up, and it's like, okay, you find yourself a plane ticket. I'm going to try and find myself a plane ticket. If you find one, just buy it. And oh boy,
It was challenging
It was challenging.
and so nerve-wracking. Like it was bad.
It was really challenging, and kind of expensive too. But I think it kind of pales in comparison to how difficult it would have been if we wouldn't have been able to get home. So we were able to secure plane tickets, and then it's like, all right, now what are we going to do? We fly out in a few hours. Can't really go to bed, so.
So we did that Instagram live stream.
Did a live stream. Pranav made us both a cup of tea. We sat around, did an Instagram, and packed our bags, got ready, and went back to the airport. Makes for kind of a long day, and then got back on planes. And for Pranav, it was a pretty quick turnaround. What was it, about 41, 42 hours from takeoff in Chicago to back in Chicago?
I don't think I know of anyone else who's been to Europe and back faster than I have. So it's a personal record. There's
Yeah.
anyone in the chat who has.
Yeah. Has
Let us
anyone been
know.
to Europe and back from Chicago in less than 42 hours? You know, we'd love to hear your story. Oh, man. And then we got back, and it's like everyone was all concerned, and now we had to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. So that was a pretty interesting 2 weeks as all these other developments have been happening and just kind of watching along. And, you know, here we were thinking that, all right, things will kind of stabilize a little bit, which they didn't. And, you know, soon the 2020 M pre-order is going to be over. Well, I guess the big news of the day is the 2020 M pre-order is accelerated. So if, in case you haven't known, we started shipping all the 2020 M pre-orders a couple days ago. So hopefully quite a few have already started receiving them.
And there's a question, is the CVAP guaranteed for everyone who pre-ordered this year?
So, and the answer is mostly. If you ordered from us, definitely. Every single pre-order will be receiving a CVAP, just like last year. Also, many of our other retailers around the world were also participating with our CVAP pre-order because we really wanted to do a good turn before we knew anything like what we've been experiencing the past couple of weeks is going to be coming about. We just wanted to spread some karma into the world, and hopefully more of the positive kind than anything. But now that we've released the pre-orders early, ahead of schedule, the CVAPs are no longer going to be shipping with M orders because it just doesn't make sense to offer something with the name Karma on it in exchange for someone buying something. So instead, we're going to be offering another unit that we're calling the CVAP because we really want it to represent community and compassion for those that are contending with challenges right now. And these will ship out just like the CVAPs. So for all 2020 M orders from now through April 1st, there will be a CVAP included in the order to hopefully help out someone that you know that could use a little boost.
I'd like to mention that we haven't made them yet, so.
No, so understand that with the current conditions, our business is being affected like many other businesses, that we're not operating at full capacity. So we're going to ship these as quickly as we can. But it's unlikely that any 2020 M orders placed today or even tomorrow are going to ship any sooner than Monday. And hopefully we're going to have inventory and have the capability and capacity to make fulfillment functional and get those orders out on Monday.
But it's my understanding that all the pre-orders until now have been.
So if you haven't received a shipping confirmation on your pre-order, you should shortly. Sometimes it takes a little while for the tracking numbers and everything to get verified in the system. But the vast majority, if not all of the pre-orders have been fulfilled at this point in time. So,
Awesome.
there. We're getting through quite a few, I think, the important updates. Really looking forward to seeing what other people think as they're receiving these 2020s in terms of how they work, how they look, how they function, the new captive cap. It's kind of fun to spin around. The design changes, the geometry changes, the chiral airports, just fun stuff like that.
Yeah, if you've already received your device, let us know in the chat how you're enjoying it and what are your thoughts. And coming back to the CarmaVaps, please share these devices.
Yes, please do. There's a quick shot of the Karma map. Our goal with this whole idea was to do our part to spread a little bit of joy and happiness in the world and empower all of our customers to share what we'd like to think is a good alternative with the people that they care about. And we're hoping to continue that with the CVAPs that are going to be going out with future orders of the 2020 Ms. So we want to hear your stories. We want to help you help others, because that's just a really nice thing to do.
Yes, and for more info, you can go on to dynavap.com/karma. We have the Karma map there, and there's a space for you to share your Karma stories and read up on other stories. So cool stuff, check it out.
Yeah, definitely. So, how many toilet paper rolls for an M?
That's a good question.
That's awesome. Apparently this is a new form of currency. But yeah, it looks like we got the community tab up here. So for those of you that are spending a little bit more time at home than you thought you might be spending at home, what are you doing with all of this additional time at home? So if you haven't been to the community tab, please go. It's right here on our YouTube page. It seems like most people are using their VAP cap.
It's good to hear.
It
So
is.
what have you been doing in your quarantine? I noticed that you've been doing a lot of streaming on Instagram.
So it became evident that I was deficient in my understanding, in my ability to utilize Instagram and probably other social media platforms as well. So it's like, all right, maybe it's time for me to take some of this time that I'm at home and learn some new tricks. So I kind of took it upon myself, I'm going to learn more about Instagram. I'm going to do some live streams. I'm going to start creating posts. I'm going to create a new account so I have more than one account to manage so I can switch back and forth. And if you like that sort of thing, I did create a page called Dynatography that just features pictures of VAP caps in various different backgrounds. So I've been posting more, trying to make it a point to post at least one picture every single day. And I've been doing the quarantine live stream from my basement because I couldn't really go anywhere. So didn't do it every single day, but have been doing live streams almost every day. And you know, some solo, which has been a really interesting experience for me, doing an Instagram live stream solo. You know, it's really odd because it's very, very quiet, and all you can really hear is your own voice.
Yes, but it's nice to have that direct interaction with the chat and all these people who tune in. So will you continue doing these live streams?
My goal is to continue doing the live streams, at least as long as the Dynaverse is in a state of, we'll call it change or flux. You know, with many people doing their best to contribute to the situation by staying home, staying put. So we want to do what we can to make that stay at home a little bit more enjoyable, a little bit more pleasant. So if doing live streams on a regular basis is going to help that situation, then that's exactly what we want to do. Because as a company, we want to do the best that we can to help out as many people as we possibly can.
It's a good question. Any difference between the CVAP and the CarmaVap?
That is a good question. So we're anticipating that we might need a few more CVAPs than we were anticipating for the CarmaVaps. So another reason why we may not be able to get orders out for a little while, we haven't even finalized exactly how it's going to look yet. So we'll have more information on that in the next few days. But we're going to do everything we can to provide as many of these devices to people as we reasonably can and try not run out of stock. But we may have to pull from some of our reserves, from some of our devices or our components that have some small cosmetic flaws, just so that we can continue to provide these devices at minimal, if not no cost to our customers, so they can help out someone and hopefully not only put a smile on their face, but help their materials last longer, go further, as we get into a point in time where we just need to be a little bit more conservative.
That's what the C stands for, conserving?
Well, that's a good question, Pranav. You know, what does the C stand for? What does the C mean to you? And that's kind of the next question that we want to put out there for people to answer. And that's part of the reason why we're calling it the C, is because we want to see, what does your C mean to you? I think conservation is one. I think compassion and consideration for others is another couple ways that you can interpret what does the C mean. You know, we want this to be a very positive thing in this time of change and challenge for many of us.
So let's take a few questions. Can you explain the new fins on the 2020M?
Explain the new fins. Sure can. So the new fins, although it looks like there's 4 of them, we just spaced them out a little bit differently. There still is 5, just like last year. But in the interest of making the device a little bit more interesting, a little bit more engaging, we changed the geometry, changed the layout, and we also changed the mass of this tip a little bit more so that it would hold the heat just a little bit longer. Some may like that, some not sure, but what it means is that it's going to take a little bit longer to heat up, and it's going to cool down a little bit slower, which is really nice in cold and windy weather, which gives a little bit more separation in terms of functionality between the stainless steel tips and the titanium tips. Because where we were is they were getting to be rather close in terms of how they functioned. And I don't know if that's necessarily the best thing, because one of the appealing things about the device that we manufacture is they offer a lot of different options. So people can customize them to perform the way that you want them to perform. So you can get the characteristics that are more appealing to you, not just as a person, but at that point in time or that moment where I'm looking for a device that holds heat longer, or I'm looking for one that heats up faster, whatever the situation might be.
What do the markings on the tip mean? Do we want to divulge, or like let
oh
people
no,
figure it out?
we can't go there. That would not be fun for all the people out there that haven't received their puzzles yet. Maybe we'll just leave it at that.
Let's leave it at that.
Leave it at that. Okay. When adding a spinning mouthpiece to a new 2020, do you still recommend flipping the stem? It's going to be more of a personal preference, because one of the things that we did, since not that many people would operate in that fashion, is if we look at the close-up on the inside of the stem, where the O-ring fits, what you'll see is we added a little groove to help catch and capture that O-ring that generally sits flush at the end of the mouthpiece, so that the condenser goes in and generally stays put much better. So what that means is the tip's going to have a little bit more wiggle when you put it in that end. So just try it out, see if you like it. The 2020M stem may not be the best fit with the spinning mouthpiece.
I love this question. Which airport has the best food?
Which airport has the best food? Oh, I thought we were talking about the left one or the right one. Gosh, you've been to quite a few airports, haven't you, Pranav?
I have, but okay. I was really looking forward to having some good ham in Spain. And fortunately or unfortunately, the only food I had on this trip was at airports. And like when we left our Airbnb, that was like, oh man, I didn't get to try this ham. And then at the airport, I saw this place selling a ham sandwich. I'm like, yes, I'm going to get that.
And for those of you that aren't aware, we're not talking about like an American-style ham sandwich. This is a Spanish, I think it's Iberican ham.
Iberian ham?
Iberian, yeah. So it's more along the lines of like a prosciutto.
Yes.
So it's a cured ham.
And was good. Yes. So at least I got that.
So you got your your Spanish ham sandwich at the airport.
Yes.
And what did you eat at the airport in Germany?
Uh,
Sauerkraut?
no, it was pork knuckle or something.
Okay.
It was, I had to try it, something different, something
Is it
German.
airport food?
It was a good restaurant at
Was
the
it?
airport though, yes.
I think that overall the restaurants and airports have improved pretty substantially in the last 10 to 15 years. So I got to think of where's been the best airport food that I've had. There's a pretty good restaurant I think in St. Louis. Don't generally eat much in Chicago. And when I'm flying out of Chicago, about the only time I fly out of Chicago is when I'm flying international, and that's Terminal 5. And there just really isn't a whole lot there. The Dublin airport has some interesting restaurants. I like to connect through Dublin because they have the U.S. pre-clearance there.
Okay.
So if we ever get to a state where people like traveling to Europe again, Dublin's not a bad airport to travel through. So
This is a good question. What's
Yes.
the biggest challenge when designing a new M?
wow, that is a good question. Thank you for asking that one. Really like that one. So the 2020 M, I think, is so far one of our most significant achievements as a company. This device has more features and upgrades this year than any previous year. And I can tell you that at this time last year, as we're just in the process of launching the 2019 M, I can remember thinking, this is a pretty substantial upgrade over the 2018, which seemed like it was a pretty substantial upgrade over the 2017. How are we ever going to do better than that? And when it came down to finally focusing a little bit on the redesign, it's like, let's put a tapered mouthpiece on it so it fits with 10 millimeter joints. That'll be a nice upgrade. Let's update the grip with some of the new geometries that we learned how to do in our CNC machines. Thank you, Jason, who created a whole new tool that could make new geometries and remove metal in a way that we hadn't been able to do it before. And that's where you get some of this really nice optical plays with the lights when you spin and you rotate the new 2020 M stem. It also gives it a much different tactile feel than what the 2019 had. And so as we started working on these attributes, all of a sudden it's like, okay, now how are we going to bring it all together? And what it really comes down to is that was one of the hardest things for us to do, is take all these new ideas and bring them together in such a fashion that they actually look like they belong together. And I would say that on this generation of device, we spent more development time than I think on every single other device and product that we've brought to market since we started. I think just on the stem alone, it was well over 100 different iterations to try out the geometries, to see how the geometry on the grip area would mate with the geometry around the airport or in conjunction with the rocker, or how that's going to look with the taper on the mouthpiece. And then same thing on the other end is, how do we mate the geometry in the grip area with the fins on the tip? Because they also look very different. And so we had a few different fin ideas, a few different profiles, and just trying to A, come up with a design, and B, come up with a design that's not only machinable, but manufacturable at a scale that makes sense for us to produce. So yeah, this was a real challenge for us.
It turned out pretty nicely.
And I think it turned out all right.
Yeah.
I think in general, most people that have them think they turned out okay. We'd still want to hear your comments, because this is what gives us the ideas for the next generation and the next go around. Is like, okay, what do you not like, so we can try our best to make things better.
Will my Thai CCDs work with the 2020M?
They should work just fine. The titanium CCDs, they do have a different spring rate than the stainless ones, so they might just be a little bit more finicky to work with, but they should be positionable, because both the titanium and the stainless steel CCD have a very, very similar we aim to make it as close to identical as possible diameter. So they should be interchangeable. So
Can we still use the magnet on the Dynastash to remove the new captive cap?
yes, we can. Do I have one in my pocket? And I do. This one set up? Yeah. We don't have a close-up camera here, so it doesn't work the best, but got the captive cap here. And you can kind of hear, if you can't see, that it spins freely, which is another kind of fun thing that came about with these, is that the captive cap not only creates for a new airflow pattern because it keeps the annular space between the cap and the tip very consistent, but it makes for kind of a nice little fidget toy.
That's definitely my favorite improvement because
Isn't it just fun?
I love fidgeting with things, and this is perfect.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a nice thing. So the caps are still just as adjustable as they used to be. In fact, I would even venture to say they're even slightly more adjustable than the previous design and generation. So having the two captivations, some people might call them detents, but I think captivations are more fun, that hold the captive cap captive on the tip, allow for a much easier adjustment. So when you squeeze in between them, it's going to loosen the fit. When you squeeze right on them, it's going to tighten the fit. And you don't have to squeeze very hard at all to make a small or a minor adjustment in terms of, I'd like my cap to fit a little bit tighter or a little bit looser. And if you take my stash here as an illustration, you may have to tap just a little bit, but you can still pull the cap off with the stash magnet. And I think just that general motion of giving a little bit of a tap, it helps align the captivations with the areas in the tip where they're going to release the easiest. And you may just have to, like I said, squeeze on the detents or the captivations, or squeeze in between them. Adjust the fitment of your cap just a little bit until you get it just right, so it doesn't fall off when it's hot, and it still comes off just the way that you want it to. So
what difference does the tip material make in regards to use with an induction heater?
quite a bit. So, and it's not just the tip material. It has, I think, just as much to do with the mass of the tip. Because the stainless steel tips, especially the new 2020 tips, have a little bit more mass than the previous generation. They're going to heat up slower. So I would strongly encourage everyone to don't hold your induction heater switch on continuously when heating up. Because then in order to get to the temperature you're looking for, some people are then going 1, 2, 3 seconds beyond the click. It's going to work much better if you heat, pause, heat, pause, heat, pause, until you get to the click. Extend out the time frame that it's taking to heat things up a little bit further, because this will allow for more time for the heat to soak through the tip and into your chamber and give you a more uniform temperature in the extraction chamber, which is going to provide for a better overall experience. Then you can stop heating at the click and know that your cap in your extraction chamber is at a known temperature. So yes, the material is different, not only because there's more material on the new 2020 tip than there was in the previous 2019 and 2018 tips, but also in comparison to the titanium tips because of the mass differential. The stainless steel tips, they take longer to heat up, but they also stay warm longer, so you can get a longer draw, or it'll maintain temperature longer outside when the cold wind is blowing.
It's a good question. Maybe we can finally answer this. How do magnets work?
How do magnets work? Yeah, that's a good question.
It's a good question, but we're supposed to do a video on that soon.
Right, well, we'll just touch on it lightly then.
Okay.
Magnets kind of function like a ferrous material gravimetric shield that stops the effects of gravity coming from certain directions that allow things that are ferrous or containing iron and sometimes nickel alloys to contact, or I'm just making it all up.
So in layman's terms, magic.
Yes, I mean, magic, magnet, I mean, there's a lot of similar letters here. I mean, doesn't magic kind of come from magnetism?
It does.
I think it does. And you know, magnets don't exactly make doing magic harder. They tend to make it easier.
Easier, yes.
Yes. So, yeah, I'd say magnets definitely fall into that category of borderline magic.
Going back to like the C's and conserving, we
Yes.
finally have adjustable in
We
our tips.
do. Thank you for bringing that up. So, where do you like your CCD, Pranav?
I'd like to admit that it was fairly recent when I like moved it up to the lower position, and I haven't moved it since. And I'd like to urge everyone, if you haven't tried it yet, just give it a shot and let us know your experience.
Did that take a little coercion or convincing to move your CCD into the conservation?
It didn't. I mean, I was like, I might as well try it. I just thought to myself, like, there's no reason why I haven't tried it yet, so I should. And when I did, I was blown away and haven't moved it since.
I think it's a really fun thing to try out.
Yes.
Because what's it going to hurt? You might use less material. Many people will find that they may end up filling slightly more often, but the overall experience is going to be improved because the flavor profile is going to be better because you're putting fresh material in more often and more fully extracting it in fewer cycles. So all in all, I think that the having the CCD in the smaller position is going to be an appealing thing for many, many people, and you might find that you actually kind of like it there.
I definitely do. It's been amazing. Less is more.
Less is more. I like it. I see, what else we have? Tapered spinning mouthpieces. Yeah, that doesn't sound like a terrible idea. We'll have to look into that. All right.
Do we have any more questions or? Okay.
So, any big plans to spend the next couple of weeks during the stay-at-home time frame?
Big plans. Good question. I'd like to ask people in the chat what their plans are. My plans are making some CVAPs so we can send them out.
Yes, we want to get some CVAPs going, and then do our best to keep things positive in the Dynaverse. Want to put a big, strong thank you out there for everyone that's been helping keep things positive out there and helping each other out. It's such a nice thing. And we're going to do our part to keep the positivity going with our YouTube videos, with our Instagram, our posts, some live streams.
So yeah, if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to our Instagram channel at DynaVap, and we'll be doing live streams much more often. We have giveaways every Monday and just some cool content. So stick with us.
Right, and if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do that. Ring the bell so that you can get notifications when we do cool things. It's going to be a little bit more challenging for us to do cool things over the next few weeks, but we're going to still try and do our best to keep things interesting and engaging so that we can, again, do our part to keep things going in a more positive direction.
I've seen this question a couple of times now. I guess last question.
Okay.
Omni updates.
Omni updates. Oh, there it is. I was hoping that we would be having an Omni update in the near future, considering that we have to be a little bit more focused with the available resources that we have right now. It's just difficult to say exactly when that's going to be. However, rest assured, it's something that we're working on. We definitely want to give the Omni an update. It's due, and we want to do a good job with it. We want to put the same amount of effort, if not even more, into it as we have on some of our previous devices and designs, because if you're not going to do it right, why bother doing it at all? So on that note, I want to thank everyone for tuning in today and watching. We really appreciate it. Please help us out and help your fellow neighbors and community members out by sharing those CarmaVaps. And let's do our best to support each other and help get through these challenging times.
And take care of yourselves, stay healthy, and stay positive.
Thanks for watching. For more videos, click here or here, and don't forget to subscribe.